Hey guys, welcome to another review here on Go Mango.
No!
All right, as always, I'm your host of Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have
The Cinder Blaze.
I'm Aresol.
Indeed, welcome back. On today's episode, we're going to be reviewing episode 4 of Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. We're going to be talking about your guys' comments, but before that, let's dive into our thoughts. And I thought, yeah, another solid episode. It's nice. Once again, I feel like I keep saying this, but like the plot isn't thrown at us so quickly. I feel like the little bit of exposition and the little bit of like um I guess backstory and intrigue with the parents possibly being connected, that might have been thrown at us like episode 1 in any other show. But this one, it waited until episode 4. You slowly got into all the characters, and now we have a fully formed team and a direction for the plot. So I like it. It's solid.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aerosol. I feel like you have more positive thoughts to add to this.
Oh, okay. I like the fact that they used Vroom as a way of filling in our heroes on everything we already know about the Toji Tendo. And it also gives them a goal to work towards. Because before they were just sort of a random group of heroes defending their world, but now they actually have like a focused, okay, what we're doing is setting these worlds free. Let's focus on that. And I like that. Yeah, I just like this all around. I do think this was a very fast-paced episode.
Sure.
But I like the end where they again used Vroom as a way of sprinkling in a little bit of plot.
You know, when you put it that way, I kind of appreciate the character a lot more. But coming off of this episode, I wasn't too hot on the character. And usually, like this type of bumbling fool, I usually, love. But for some reason, it just like wasn't really connecting with me. Because like when I was just kind of like watching the episode, I just felt like they were just like forcing like pieces to kind of like connect, and it just didn't feel like natural in a way. Like just like the way that he was just like kind of like kicked out of the ship, and just like everything kind of like from that to like him joining up with the team, everything didn't like feel like it made like the most sense. Like it's still like serviceable, like especially like when he did get kicked off the ship, like it did like make some sense, but it just felt like, well, we have to have this character join the team right now, so we're just gonna do it right now. Like, and it's kind of funny that they accelerated that part of it so much, but I kind of felt like, at least for like Vroom, they could have left him on the ship for maybe a couple more episodes to kind of like really build that, because I felt like his turn just didn't feel like it was like deserved at this point. Just like one episode, like yeah, we see him like kind of getting bullied here and there, but like we don't see a lot of that frustration on
Yeah.
like kind of like building up at all. Like it just kind of came out of nowhere that he was actually pissed off about it, because it just felt like he was like a type of character who just kind of like took it, and like that was just like part of his thing, just
Sure.
bumbling around. It's like, oh, I'm a mess up, and they're just gonna break me from my mess ups, and he's gonna go on in his way. Because he at the beginning of this episode, he was still like pretty much on board with the Tochi Tendos, kind of doing what they're doing. Um, like he was still trying to help Ichirude with whatever nefarious plot he was doing. He didn't really like look and see at all like the destruction that was kind of like happening, and register in his head like, oh, this is wrong. Maybe I should like try to slip out or anything like that. It just felt like, well, he has to be part of the team, so we're just gonna make an episode that just makes him part of the team. And I felt like it just didn't sit right for me, like overall.
Yeah. He more so than any of the other members doesn't really feel like he has much of a moral compass. He's really just focused on learning about stuff. Which, granted, that's probably his major character flaw that will get worked on as time goes on. But I do get what you what you mean by some of that being rushed. That later bit where he's announcing to the general like, "This is my name," feels like something it could have been built up to over the past couple of episodes, but it was really only established this episode that he was never called by his name. He was never referred to by that.
Yeah.
We only really got a little hint at that, so it was a nice moment that didn't feel like it was built up to as well as it could have been.
Yeah, it gave me a lot of Q Ranger vibes, like just like that empty like finale to like an episode where they just kind of like have to speak out against whatever injustice, and it's like, dude, you didn't build this up at all. Like, I'm sorry, you're trying your hardest, but I just can't.
I definitely agree that like there was I guess it wasn't enough time or enough like us seeing the ship and him getting disrespected, because like what you said, like he never really cared. He's more just there for the knowledge, but I feel like he recognized that he could gain more knowledge with the Zenkaigers, and that's really what turned him. Because he was at that point just running from all the villains, and him getting kicked off the ship, I think that flowed a lot better, just because we know that what'd you say his name was?
Ichiru.
Guy with tank treads. We know that he'll go through, do nefarious things just to cover up, the not so great things that he's up to. Like, oh yeah, these gears, that's just a coincidence that I have gears and you have gears.
I've totally made those.
That
was my idea that I made up.
Mine. Oh, you know about the gears being set free or setting free the worlds? Well, guess you gotta die.
That does make sense though for a general, like, oh shit, if the big guy finds out, it's my head.
Yeah, exactly. So for that instance and him being hunted, that made sense to me. And how he eventually ended up with the Zenkaigers, yeah, it was a little, I guess, rushed, but him getting out of that situation, that made more sense.
It was very funny when he just ran through the beginning of the fight scene, and everyone's standing around like, "The hell is that?"
Yeah, he was doing it for a while too. Like, just wasn't like registering what was happening there.
You know what I was sad to see go though? I was really hoping they'd keep the threat of them just like blasting a minion almost immediately.
Yeah.
And we had hope that maybe that thread would continue with the last episode. Like, oh, I guess she accidentally shot close to herself. Maybe we'll continue, but no, we didn't. I guess rule of threes. I was really just hoping, because it would be great setup if all 5 of them did it. And then once we get our 6th Ranger, we don't know who it is yet, or maybe it's something up in the air. But then somebody out of nowhere just murks one of the one of the dudes, just randomly, and oh, okay, I guess that'll immediately tell the audience that's our guy, that's him. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just looking too far ahead. But overall, I appreciated this episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I like a lot of the smaller moments here and there. I like the there was a reference to an old boxing manga at the end of the mech fight. The boxer guy's final words
were
a reference to Ashita no Joe.
Really?
That's awesome.
But, yeah. And a reference to an exploding death match. It's a wrestling thing. Yeah, just a lot of little funny gags here and there.
I also really appreciated, as you were saying, the smaller things, but like Majin she was more, I guess, like she was in the background, but like whenever you saw her on screen, she was having fun and just joking around with pals. And when when they went to combine, both Vroon and Majin just went ah.
Yeah, Jiron and Galen did that last week too.
Yeah, I
It's-
didn't expect the two of them to do that. I mean, because they don't. At least the truck doesn't open any sort of mouth to make that happen.
Yeah, like typically they don't make noises when they transform in that manner.
Yeah.
Like you could be doing those noises in most other Sentai, but
Mm-hmm. But also from last episode, we were coming off of like a lot of green screen, and I'm starting to wonder if that was more because they wanted to be really ambitious with the setting and they wanted to go full in on this other world or like this merging of the worlds. And then, because sometimes with these shows you get a half-hearted attempt to make a new world or different scenery, but this time they wanted to go all in because we were shown in this episode that the quality didn't dip. It was just because they wanted to make it, make the scenery look very different. So I guess I can appreciate last episode a lot more because, they are going all in on that. And we don't have to do an anniversary looking thing each and every time.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've said before, I enjoy the fact that the mech fights have like different scenery to them. It
Mhm.
makes them a lot more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I hope that continues past this, introductory arc that we had. But
Yeah.
Yeah, like who knows? Like the big boss might find a way to cut costs. Like he actually figures out how to use his form so they don't have to do that to the same
Well, I mean,
extent.
I assume that once we get to the anniversary seasons or the anniversary worlds, it's like, well, it's already like Earth except Sentai exists. So this can all just sort of be the same.
Yeah.
Also, the boxing world, very fun. I loved everything about those antics. That was the best.
that was really entertaining. Yeah.
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 Just wanted to pay a passing mention to that because I didn't want to like leave that one on the table. I enjoyed that. Do you guys have anything else before we delve into the comments?
Nothing comes to mind.
All right, cool. So let's hop in and see what you guys thought. Our first comment comes from Buggo Productions TV, who says, Vroon is now my favorite. LOL. Yeah, Vroon is great. I don't know if he's my favorite yet. I have not ranked them.
He's not even close. I just like the other characters more. He's not like an awful character.
Sure. All right, next up we have Muhammad, who says, I love the fight choreography in this series, with the suit fights and the mech fight, and how it always changes the environment. Even though the next episode seems weird, it actually, the continuation of this one, where Kaito gets distracted because he keeps thinking about his parents, and that causes him and Juron to be wrapped up in seaweed on the next episode later on. I agree. I'm looking forward to hanging on to plot threads and having it being a part of the story and how it gets them into the antics.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird going into next week and not having like that anticipation of introducing a new ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. We can see the team, operating on its own. And also, it's nice to have a little bit more serialization between episodes. So, cool stuff.
Yeah.
Next up, Yuki Miyazaki says, really good episode for Vroom. Focused episode. We get to learn a bit of world building again with Vroon and his desire for knowledge. The gag on this episode is amusing, especially with the whole boxing thing, although at the latter half of the episode, the sound quality seems really off. Like, some of the sound effects and music won't play properly or overlap with each other.
I was kind of feeling that. Like,
I didn't notice.
For me, like, because I didn't like enjoy the episode like as much, like one thing I do like about this series are like the sound effects, especially like towards the Zord fights, because they're just like so fun. They're just like popping. This one felt like a bit more subdued. It just wasn't like nearly as vibrant as in some of the other fights. Maybe I'm getting used to the soundtrack or the sound effects, but it definitely didn't feel right this episode.
Okay.
We did get introduced to the Vroon theme.
Yes.
Which is a little more modern than the Jura Gaon theme.
I agree. Yeah.
But I like both of them quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I like this one a lot.
Speaking of like oddities, though, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but during the opening, during like when they're going through all of the little antics of them being in the candy shop, there's one just like second long piece of footage where no one's in the shop. It's just empty. And it's really weird.
I didn't even notice.
I don't know if it was like a mistake or just something weird that they decided to do, but yeah.
I have a feeling that could have been like, oh, well, we cut together this episode, but in order to fill, we have this much time for commercials, but we still need a little bit more. What do we got? I've got this JPEG of the empty shop. Ooh, throw that in. All right, I have to go back and check that. Speaking of which, Muhammad goes on to say, if you guys go back to the Balloon Man scene, you can see balloon-shaped Juron Tyranno, Gaon Lion, Majin Dragon, and Vroom Dump mech form in the lineup if you guys look closely. Interesting.
Huh.
Okay, cool. Next up, we have a comment from Matt Hunt. What is up, bud? Really dug this episode a lot. Vroon's a great character, and they used him to really bring the larger plot forward while letting all the characters play at the same time. Vroon Majin's theme, sung by Psychic Lover and Gojo Mayumi, is a bop too. Now that the team is formed, I'm excited to see where we go. Next time looks like it plays up the silliness, but the fight with Barashitara, the general dude, oh, thank you for simplifying that to the general dude for me, also looks pretty epic. P.S. Yep, sushi chefs, at least traditionally in Japan, use fans to cool down the rice to the exact temperature they require. Now we just want sushi. Thank you so much for telling me that. I have to work on that. All right. Thank you so much, Matt. Let's move on to Tree Cobb, who says, Vroom is my favorite character so far in the series. All right. Very polarizing opinion for Alex.
I have to have one of those.
Yeah. I gotta ask, though, is it Vroom or Vroon?
Depends on how fast he's going. I'll be using those names interchangeably.
I didn't know Vroom. I didn't know velocity affected consonant sounds. But all right. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for leaving those comments. Tell us what you thought about our thoughts about your thoughts in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, there are links in the description to how you can help support the Black Lives Matter movement by donating money, signing petitions, and watching videos. There are also links in the description, and Alex is going to start laughing if I say this incorrectly. So I got this right here. There are a few links in the description for some resources on how to help stop anti-Asian violence.
There we go.
Good? Are we good? Okay. Anyways, guys. Oh, also like, comment, subscribe. You know the whole thing. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it.
Yep. See ya.
Bye. I'm really glad you stopped supporting it, Asian violence. Sorry. It's a big step for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've been supporting it for 3 whole weeks.